Hi, I'm Michael Wallace with Fixation, and welcome to another installment of The Rising Tide. I want to ask you, have you ever been in a conversation with someone where, and it could be a colleague, it could be a client, and suddenly you find your heart racing, you feel, kind of that pressure building up inside of you. Your thoughts maybe like they're a little bit scrambled, and your response maybe comes out a bit sharper than you intended. We call that target fixation. And it's when your brain shifts from that logical side to really that emotional side. So what's happening in the brain? Now, if we look at, let's say, what we call the triune brain, there's really three levels of the brain. We've got our primate brain, and this is the part of our brain that handles, reason and logic and planning. The next one is your mammalian brain. This is where your emotions lie, right? This is where you'll feel stuff. And it's actually the start of what gets us into our reptilian brain, which is really that lower part of our brain. And this kicks in when we feel threatened. When we feel threatened, when we feel we just don't maybe have control of the situation. Something that triggers us. So when something triggers us, let's say an unfair comment, it could be maybe we're feeling ignored, we're being challenged, our amygdala hijacks the system and logic just shuts down. Our emotions take over. We enter what we call that fight or flight or freeze mode. Well, the problem is that our brain reacts the same way, whether it's a saber-toothed tiger, a bear, or a gorilla that's coming after us. We go into that fight or flight mode. So our brains react the same way as if someone's giving us maybe some feedback on some work we've done, or maybe there's some tension with an interpersonal relation we have, let's say with someone at work. Our brains react the same way as if it's a physical threat coming our way, where all this is really just a threat that's imagined by our brain. What are the sources of these triggers? Now, the most common one, first one is, let's say, what we call status threats. This is where we feel maybe disrespected in a conversation. The second one is a power threat, and this is where maybe we feel like we're being left out of a decision, or we just don't feel like we are maybe in control of our destiny anymore. The third one, it's not knowing what's going on. This is what we call a knowledge threat. Someone maybe feels like they just don't have an idea what's really happening. The other one is feeling misunderstood or excluded. This is what we call social threats. And the last one is a justice threat, which is sensing an unfairness, whether it's an unfairness towards ourselves or if it's an unfairness that we're seeing against someone else. Here's a simple framework of how you can get yourself out of target fixation. First one is pause. You need to create a micro moment for yourself, whether it's closing your eyes, taking a deep breath. Now give your brain a chance to shift gears, and that's what that micro moment is. That's what that pause is for. So the next one is reflect. So once you've created that pause, you then need to ask yourself, so what assumptions am I making in this situation? What are some stories that maybe I'm telling myself? And then what's actually true? And what do you really want for everyone involved? Not just yourself. This isn't just about you. It's also about the other people you're interacting with. Like, what do you want for them as well? So the goal is to shift from reacting to realigning. Now, the third one is unlock. What does this really mean? It just means choose the right mindset. So let go of your ego. This is not about you. It is about whoever you're in that relationship with, that conversation. It's as much about them as about you. Be curious instead of being defensive. Focus on the outcome and not necessarily the obstacle that's right in front of you. And the last one is respond. Because once you're grounded, only once you're grounded can you then re-engage in the conversation. If you re-engage too soon when you're not grounded, you're still in target fixation. And then this isn't about pretending you weren't triggered, right? It's not about masking it and imagining, oh, no, everything's fine. It's about choosing the right response once you're grounded again. Once you're back in control, you then have a choice in terms of how you're going to react to the situation. Recovering from target fixation, it's not about being perfect. Things can get messy when all this happens. But what it's about building your awareness in terms of when you're triggered, what's causing it, and learning to shift before things spiral, before you react immediately to something. So the next time you feel that rush, you feel that rise, that temperature is increasing, I want you to pause, I want you to reflect, unlock, and then respond. And that's how you lead with influence, even in the heat of the moment. I'm Michael Wallace. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.